This is Einar from Unity Center in Oslo. Today we have this beautiful lady from Hawaii, Canada or someplace, and she calls herself for Alandra Napali Kai. She just came to the center yesterday, and I thought I had to interview her. She is some kind of special girl with a special information that I think is very important in these times. I was looking at some of the reviews from your courses, and some of the people as a very super healer, and very good to educate people and everything. And she's into, what I want to ask her is about the inner self. She's talking about being in your inner self all the time, not getting influenced by people outside. Have I said it right? Is that what you're doing?
Well, among other things, yes. This weekend, I'm going to be offering a course. It's called the I Discoveries, and it was created back in 2011. I happened to be part of the original. It was a 7 to 10 day program by an amazing teacher named Dian Vimal, who's
from where?
From Malaysia.
Okay.
I traveled to Malaysia, and so did one of my daughters. Came with me as well, and the course was then videotaped and then cut up into 3 separate what they call like rites. And so I have been sharing and teaching and going to as well the first rite, which is what I do, and also I've done the second and third. But apart from that, the first is incredibly important as a foundation for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're on a spiritual path or not. It's just for living. And I kind of want to keep away from the word spiritual, because people have all sorts of ideas about this, and some people are spiritual and other people aren't spiritual, and and really everything is of spirit. You can't say something is or isn't. And so I don't care what people call themselves. It's so important that you can live your own life. You're not living a life that's been influenced, that you've been affected, that through some kind of beliefs or ideas or situations, that's created the life that you're living. So one of the things for this is so that you can move to the place where you create, not because of an idea, but you create out of your being the life that's really yours.
How do you do that?
Well, that's part of what the course is, because the first thing is that you have to learn how not to be influenced, how not to be affected by everything around you. And that means that you have to come back to you. Most of us have been disconnected from the I that's just for me, that I'm not performing, I'm not trying to, influence, teach, I'm not trying to make somebody see me in a certain way, or I'm not trying to make somebody else into something, but to truly know how to accept what is. And so in the course, there's an actual set way of going about understanding what it is that keeps you caught in influence and keeps you caught in being affected. And how to be able to move through that so you can rest in the sacred. Because we all have this place within us that's rested, that we're seated in, that is beyond the mind and our ideas and all our feelings and our past and our stories and what my mother said, my father did.
Yeah, the culture.
And the culture and the world and what your neighbors think. And so there's this teacher, he found a way, a very specific way, that allowed one to begin to unwind and to let this go. And it works. But you can't do it from the mind that actually got caught in the influence. And most of the stuff that we do these days is we try to learn to manage what our problems are, or how to manage to keep my life happy, or keep myself comfort, or keep myself successful, or whatever it is that we want or loved. And we try to manage my anger. I'm trying to manage my fear. Instead of really transform beyond that. And that means it has to be embodied. It can't be something just of the mind. So this course is a way that it helps it come into the embodiment. And there's many ways of doing that. And one way is through celebration. That when you can let go and allow the energy to begin to move up. Most of our energy is always going in the downward, and we don't recognize it because we celebrate the unconscious in our society. We celebrate getting drunk, we celebrate partying, we celebrate, going to things and losing our own ability to stay in ourselves and to get caught up into the collective, into everything. So this helps us learn how to come back into the place in ourselves that is sacred, that is untouched by all the influence, and to stop trying to influence everyone else, to learn how to fall back into that, and to let the energy begin to rise. And as the energy starts to rise in us without us trying to, most of the time in a lot of the things about chakras, we're manipulating. Again, we're trying to manage and manipulate. There is a natural flow. When you are aligned, when you're rested back in being, the energy naturally begins to flow up. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to.
Is it kind of
manipulate
meditation? Or?
Well, we've misused the word meditation. Most of the time meditating now is for us to accomplish something, like so I can be stress-free, or I'm not worried anymore, or I can feel better, or I can manage my anxiety, my anger, my whatever. So it's not a tool for falling back in and being at one in ourselves. It's become a tool now that we do something. A lot of times people visualize, they do all sorts of stuff, but that's not what I was taught, and I think in the original meditation has been used for in the past, and that's just what I've been taught and what I know for myself. So I'm not saying it's the end all and be all. I'm not saying that anybody else's meditation has no value. It has value, but it's not what.
That's okay. Do you meditate?
Yes, but it's not. I've gone through many years. I started out meditating at 16, and I'm many years past 16 now, and I've gone through all different kinds. I did the visualization, I've done the ones with the Vipassana, I've done many kinds. I've done walking meditations, I've done different kinds of sitting and focusing and everything, and I've come to now that for me meditation is this being able to fall back and really rest in that place of silence, in that place of peace, and also in that place to accept that which I am. And from there, then there is enormous love. The mind and the minding and all the things that we do falls away. I'm not talking about the thoughts. I'm talking about how our mind interprets everything and has an opinion and has a, like a whole mindset on everything.
Yes.
And we don't know how to just rest back into just being at peace in ourselves.
Yeah, it sounds like this is the place we're going.
Yeah.
And then the new ages now with the Mayan calendar and all these things, and the religions are starting to be old-fashioned. So the new thing is to get in touch with your own God inside. And is it that what you're talking about?
Well, you have to realize that that's come from an idea. And so a lot of people have this idea of, well, even if you use the word God, there's ideas about God. So, and the idea was taken from a very ancient truth, that you find everything within. And for me, I've gone through, as I said, I started at 16. I had a mother that when I was 5 took me through, reincarnation, and I was reading palms and doing all sorts of things right from when I was a kid, and doing people's past lives and whatever. And bottom line is that it's all, a lot of times we have all these ideas and we can do all this stuff and we become experience junkies, like we want the experience of feeling one with God or feeling my God within. But the actual truth of that, you actually have to get out of the mind to go there. Otherwise, again, it can be hallucinations, it can be things that the mind is doing, and we use it as an escaping what is. So yes, there's a lot of real, what I want to call it, like longing or searching out there. There's also a lot of places we can get trapped and just end up having a conceptual idea and not it being embodied.
But sounds like a little bit what they call enlightened. Is the some of the same thing?
It's I'm not enlightened, so
no, but maybe you are. Maybe that's what people call enlightened.
But what I can say is that my teacher, is an enlightened master, and I know I am not that. But what I have seen is that is living love, and that there is no body there. There is love. There is light. There is that which is the all there. and it is moving through this human vehicle. So all I can say is this, is that the path that I have come here to be able to assist or support people in is a path that is ultimately leading to that liberation. Because at one point we all are enlightened, and we're to look at that which prevents the enlightened state from being lived. And that even the words I'm using there are incorrect. I'm a student. I'm not a master. I'm a student, and I'm sharing what I know as a student. And hopefully it can assist others in coming to more in their lives.
Yeah, but how? I would think this is one of the solutions to if everybody on Earth got in contact with their heart.
Exactly.
Then you wouldn't have any wars and so on.
Yeah, because the inner always reflects outwardly, and we live in a world that its inner is being reflected everywhere. I remember my teacher, he says to me, as you are, so your life is. Yes. All you have to do is look at your life, and it will tell you whether you're willing to be able to see it or not, or have the courage to see it. It will tell you everything you need to know about yourself, and what it is about you need to see, you need to understand, what it is that's not in alignment, what it is that you're being asked to be awakened to. And most of us end up getting into self-correction, that we feel like we have to correct ourselves, and, oh, well, if I do this, then I'll be better. And again, then we take on the mind of correction. And it's just another mind. It's not actually falling back into that rested place of that we can embody that which we are. We have a mind. Everything is so much mind.
Yeah, as I see it, we are totally in the mind or in the ego. Is the ego and the mind the same thing for you?
For me, I usually put them together,
yes.
Though there is also mind that, in my understanding, that is not necessarily associated with ego per se.
Of course, this is
and it also depends on the definition. It's a big subject, and I just travel.
Yeah. But is the goal then? We should. What you're talking about is to get into your inner self. Is that what they call in being in your heart?
I believe that's what some people do call being in your heart. Yes.
Yeah, and then again, it would be the future would be, if it's going to be a good future for the mankind, that the mind is helping the heart.
Well, the Dalai Lama, he says that the longest journey that you will ever take is from the head to the heart. And when he speaks, he says that he thinks from here, from his heart. And Dian Vumal, he talks about that to be a friend to mankind, that when we do what we can from where we are, not try to be anything more, anything less, that we do the best we can from where we are, and that we look out and we treat everybody as if they were a friend, so that we support that on the world as if it was a friend. So we support, and we, like businesses that treat others as friends.
Yeah, but that would maybe come natural if you're in your heart.
It would, yes.
It's the ego that's crazy and making us do stupid things.
Everything in separation, and the ego is so afraid to fail, so that it's constantly defending and protecting. It's constantly influencing. It's constantly being affected. It's constantly striving for something more. And even if it gets it, there will always be something more, because the ego can never be satiated. The ego is by its very nature always restless and moving, and or it's defending and backing off and pointing the finger, but you can't be in the state of love and have fear or be restless or be in the ego, because the ego doesn't love. It doesn't love.
No. But do you have any clues, some easy clues to how to do it, or do you have to go on the workshop?
But this is the problem. You see, the mind wants, give me something fast and easy so I can feel better, and I can take it away, and I can go, okay, I'm okay now. But the thing is that it's that we need to actually be able to recognize is in the way. And the ego always wants an easy answer. It always wants, give me something quick. That's why we end up being workshop junkies, you know? Give me a quick fix, give me an experience.
Yes.
And we forget the experiencer, that which is underneath all the experiences that never shifts and changes. That's part of what we're falling back into. It's the experiencer. It's beyond our past and our stories and our experiences and our thoughts and our feelings and our attachments to our body and everything. It's that which is eternal. And we can have a concept of it, and I can say the words, but to actually go through a process that allows us to come back, it's not an easy 1, 2, 3. Even though in this first level of the workshop, when you leave, you will have the tools. You'll have a lot of tools, and you'll have a lot of understanding of what you need to do, or where you need to fall back into. You'll have breathing techniques, you'll have mantras, you'll gone through lots of different exercises. It's not processing. We're not doing psychological processing. We're helping the individual just to fall back to itself, just for itself, by itself. It's not doing it for any other. You're not doing it there to show, like, look what I can do, or, oh, now I can go and be okay with my mom, or whatever. No, it's about this coming back and really coming back and saying yes. And recognizing the sacredness and allowing this energy to begin to be set free.
Yes.
And so there are things you can end up doing, but a lot of times what happens is, like, even with The Secret, remember when that came out and everybody was into The Secret, and most of the time then we were manifesting from the ego.
Yes.
And we were manifesting, and so, you know,
nothing happens.
I can do that. I mean, I started when I was in my 20s. I could sit down, have a shower, and in the shower I would say exactly what it was that I was going to create, and I thanked Spirit, I thanked God, I thanked the Creator, and it always came to pass. Was I a happier person? Was I a more fulfilled person? No, I was just somebody who got what I wanted, but that want never fulfilled me, my heart. And so I realized quite young at age, was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. If I'm creating from my ego and not from what my heart or my being truly wants to create, then there's just always going to be something more. It's like a hunger that's never, you quench it, and then the next day you're hungry, and then you're hungry, and then you need more and more and more. So it was like a wake-up call for me. Yeah, sure, you can manifest what you want, but who is it that wants? If it's the ego, it'll be like cotton candy. You will never be fulfilled by it. It'll be nice and sweet, but...
Wise words. Yes. But I have a big question. Do you think the meaning of living on Earth here is to come to this place where everybody at last is in their heart, and then the whole Earth transforms into something, energy or something? Or is it? Do you think it's the meaning? The question is, do you think it's the meaning of why we're on Earth? What's the meaning of life? Yes.
Well, you know, who am I to say? That I believe is a personal question that each person. It's not the meaning of life. It's what is the meaning of my life? Because it's the only thing you've been given. You've been given a life. And are you living it fully? Are you living your life, or are you living the life that another has created for you? Or that your limitations, your beliefs, your story has limited you to? Because I think the only question you can really answer is, is like, what is the purpose of my life? Like, and am I living the best of me? Because you may not be able to say, well, the purpose, because the mind loves to categorize and say, this is the purpose. No, it's this, it's this, it's this. And then we get stuck on that, and we miss the beauty of everything that's being offered to us. But if you can say, am I living my life in the fullest? If there was nothing that could ever have, if all the limitations that I had weren't there, would this be the life that I'm living right now that I would have chosen? If I had chosen, was this the life I would choose for me? And most people I've said that to, the answer is no. I would be living a different life. And then my question is, well then, why? What is preventing that? And if you don't know, it's time to start to look. Because, you can't answer the big question, at least not until maybe you're enlightened. And then maybe you do know the big question. But from this perspective, we have to deal with this. And then, am I sharing the best of me? Am I letting my heart pour out? Is love bubbling forth and in my life? And it can be just as a street cleaner, that you're pouring your love out in keeping that clean. But we have, again, these ideas of success, and we have these ideas of failure. And Osho once said, whoever told you that you weren't allowed to fail? Like, we have this whole thing around this that the ego has. But failure can be just a beautiful opportunity for us to awaken to something that maybe was not ours in the first place and that we thought was. Or maybe for us to begin to look at life in a new way, or change our idea of success. There's all sorts of things there. So
yeah, it's a good answer. I usually end the interviews with you get the opportunity to tell something to the world. Is there anything special you want to tell? Anything to Norway, to Oslo, to the world?
Oh, well, I'm really happy and grateful to be able to be here in this beautiful city in Norway, and to be invited to come here and to share. To whoever may feel drawn, it may have that calling, to answer that call, to maybe look at something new, to maybe open and think that maybe you don't, or we don't know everything, and maybe something new might offer us another key to unlock our potential, or go beyond the mind and the idea of our potential. So if there's anybody that's interested in looking at something maybe a little different, or maybe something that they already feel they know, but it will give them more of the tools, I invite them to come and to explore.
What's your website?
Oh, my website is www.alandra, my name, ALANDRA.net. And I also do intuitive readings. I do them for people all over the world. I do them over the phone. I do them in person. And it tells a lot about it on the website. I do retreats for women and men. I do workshops, different kinds of workshops. I do intensives when people want to intensely work on something to free themselves up.
Fantastic. And I recommend people to go on your website, all your courses and everything. They're there, and when you're in Oslo, they have to find you. And now you're going to have a workshop in Oslo this coming weekend, but I think this interview is going to be on our website for some years, so maybe somebody is listening to now, and the workshop has been for.
Yes, well,
but
I'll be back again. I have a very good friend that lives here, and I love to come and visit her.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
I have an excuse to come.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. Namaste.